All right, so this is the checklist for you to keep and go through and make sure that you know what's going on. But now what I want to really talk about, because this is, to me, if you get this part wrong, then you may as well hang it up and go home. Who is your target market? The target, as I call it. Your target market is everybody that you want to do business with. And everyone is not your client. You guys have all heard that. But it's still very difficult for people to absorb. They don't want to cut it off. They're afraid to be too nichified or to cut anybody out of their market. So it's whoever it is that you're doing business with, the whole big target market, and then you take your target plus market and you blend it together and to become the word that I call the target. Now the target is one person that is representative of your entire target market. That can be your ideal client, who you want it to be, like who you would visualize and imagine who you want to connect with and do business with, or it can be a past customer who is somebody that you've done business with that you want more of those kinds of people, and that would be fine too. But target is just a coined phrase that I came up with. I frankly came up with it because I kept typing it wrong. I kept hitting the K when I typed target, and I started thinking target. Hey, target, that's kind of cool. That works. But it's, when you look at like a target market, it's like a big mob of people. It's a big group of people. And when you are writing, you're going to write to one single person. This has been one of the biggest ahas that I get from people who are in my classes. It makes their copy sing like crazy. When you write to a single person, it makes your copy super conversational. And that's what I call a target. Now, also because of my acting background and whatnot, and a little bit of creative writing stuff, I took a creative writing class in college. And he was wacky. He was like from the Vietnam War. What was that? Life with Woodpecker. He loved that book. He was crazy about it, by Tom Robbins, who's a little wacky too. But this guy was just out there. He was like a character. And one of the things he had us do was to create a character and write all the details about the character, and then take that character with us and have lunch with the character and talk with them and think like what they would think in a daytime. And it is actually, it was kind of fun, and it gets you out of your head, but it really works well for copy. It really does. So I created a character, and when you read my e-zines, how many of you are on my e-zine list? A lot of you are, right? Yay. Bless you. When I write my e-zine, I write it to this woman, Nikki Stanton, who is a complete figment of my imagination. But she is a cross-section of all the people who I do business with. She's a 37-year-old divorced entrepreneur with a web conferencing business. She's internet savvy, invests most of her profit back into the business. She lives in San Diego in a gated community with her 10-year-old daughter, Madison, named after my niece. She's involved in her daughter's school and drives her to dance classes. She has a home office making approximately $117,000 per year, jogs 3 times a week in the neighborhood. She loves to find bargains on designer clothes, and she dreams of visiting Italy with her daughter someday. So it sounds like a real person. I even found a picture of Nikki, and I created this persona that I write to. And what really works is, rather than getting into like sometimes the jargony stuff, when you're writing to a single person, like I said, it makes your copy really conversational. And that's what makes you connect, and that's what builds relationships, which is one of the things that I really stand for. I stand for building relationships and empathy, and the way you're going to get to that is by feeling like you're really connecting. It's coming through.
Is she your target for everybody? I mean, for all of your work, or just the e-zine? Or
Good question. That's a great question. Nikki is, no, she's not my target for everybody. I also serve men, and no offense, men, but I don't have any male targets. They come naturally, no offense, like I said. But I have different products. I have copywriters in my list, my house list. And I have entrepreneurs, and then among those I have like the more coachy kinds of entrepreneurs, more service-based businesses. So I have different segments, and I do have different targets for them all. And that's a really good question, actually, because that will help whatever product it is that you're selling to connect. That's very cool. So we're going to do an exercise now, and I want to have you guys write your own target, who it is that you want to do business with, and Kathy is going to be around to help you, as well as my elite group if they're open to it. Yes? All right. And so we're going to take about 15 minutes. Before we do that, though, I want to ask if there's any questions. Do you guys get it, what I'm asking for? Yeah? We're good? Okay. All right, so we're going to take 15 minutes again. We're going to, the Tibetan music wasn't a big hit with everybody. But we're going to try. Did you like it? I like it too. We're going to go with a classical this time. And so we're going to see how that works. Okay.
I found an interesting phenomenon, which was as I was describing a day in the life, it was, well, she gets to the office early because she really wants to get work done before all the interruptions start. Oh, there's some pain. Oh, there's some solution. You know, she's tired of showing up at meetings where nobody is prepared before they've walked in the door and the meetings go nowhere and it's the fourth time they've discussed something. Oh, you know, so
nice.
Climbing into the psychology this way was much easier than sitting with a blank piece of paper going, okay, so what's the benefit of learning how to do a good meeting?
Excellent. You're bringing it to life. Very cool. Awesome. Thank you. Anybody else? Any comments? All right, Kyle. Is this your first time doing a Tarket, Kyle?
No, but it was really cool.
Oh, awesome.
And Shandor and I were collaborating, and who he usually works with and who I usually work with are quite different.
Right.
And it was super fun. It was like if I was interviewing somebody maybe, because this person sort of came alive and I had, instead of incredible judgment, compassion about that person. Because I don't think I'd ever really connected with
Like a real person.
Yeah.
Neat. Did you name your Target?
He started out Matt Jacobs, but the cultural name didn't work for the character, so
Right.
his name is Matt Richards.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Cool. And obviously, you can deepen this. You can keep going back to the scenarios. It's almost endless how much you can really get into the head of your Target. And if you don't get that first, then the rest of your copy isn't going to follow. Because if you're talking to the wrong person, then you're not going to connect, and you're not going to make sales, you're not going to be able to help people, you're not going to support people. So this is a really, really important piece to the whole puzzle. And it needs to be done sort of in the research aspect. Like, this is all before we really kind of write. We're identifying who it is that we're talking to. So that was the Target experience. And now I want to talk briefly about how to get into your competitor's mind a little bit. Find out what it is that they're doing. Well, getting inside your Target's head as well. These are some other things that you want to do to get. Give me 1 second. I see. Okay. So I couched it this way. This is how you learn even more about your Target. Now that you have someone in mind and who your ideal market is, you want to sign up for e-zines that your Target would read, e-zines, your competition's e-zines, e-zines that are in your marketplace, which is an electronic newsletter. Pay attention to blogs, online journals, the direct mail that they would get, interview current clients informally. This is how you find out like what kinds of questions are going on in your target market's head, in your Target's head. You can ask former clients, how was your experience working with me? What did you like? What didn't you like? What worked for you? What didn't? And they're actually like to talk. So you might want to think about recording them, getting their permission and recording them and finding out what advice they would give you and what they liked about what it is that you provide. Ask for people's opinions at networking events. What do you think of my business model? What do you think of my pillow? What do you think of this and that? And be open and be receptive. You can send out a survey to past customers or to your future client base. You can actually, people love to take surveys. I don't know if you guys do. They love it. I would think that it would be like a waste of time, but I think it's just it's a happy distraction, and people think, someone wants to know what I think. That's great. So they will take surveys. They will take them online. They'll take them offline. Or you can perform an ask campaign. Do any of you know what ask campaigns are? A lot of you are do the internet thing. An ask campaign is doing. Okay, an ask campaign is it's a service. Actually, it's a monthly service that you actually create a web page that asks one question that you want to get the answer for your target market. Like, what's your biggest question about search engine optimization? You make it very open-ended and let them just spill for you. And this particular software is like it's searchable. So you can search through the keywords that people tend to type up if they keep writing the same kinds of things, and you can string words together so you can see, what's top on their head. Like, I did an ask campaign a while ago for, what was it about? It was about something about copywriting. And I just remember I was very surprised at the answer. It's, again, trust your target market, trust them to giving you, Vicky, trust them to test. You can't just assume. You're going to end up lost if you do. Go ahead, Vicky.
I did an ask campaign for the radio show. And
Yes.
if anyone wants to look at one right now, you just go to www.askthebusinessbuddha.com.
Let's do that.
And I talk on it, so you might want to not, it's
I'll
like the
just
jello
do it.
chickens going off at once. So, but that's what it looks like, and that was developed to get some very specific information about the people listening on the show, and it gave us a lot of data about who was out there. Right after we did that, we realized that it was a global community because it's Air America. That's when the show was
Hello,
on.
Spirit Road Radio listeners. This is Vicky V, the Business Buddha, and I have a very important question to ask you. If you had the opportunity to ask one,
This is a great example.
and I mean the most important question you have about starting your own business, what would it be? I really would like to find out what that compelling question is. And if you write it down and submit it here on this form, I'll get back to you with an answer. How great is that? I also would like to give you my free 40-page report just for signing up for my free monthly easing, The Business Buddha's Big Brain Dump. So after you submit your question, you will be sent immediately to the best website on the net for business launch and expansion for the enlightened entrepreneur. And I'll see you there.
So nice, Vicky. Thank you. That's a great example. So, Vicky, was this a script or did you just wing it?
Is that a trick question?
Yeah.
I script it out a little bit, but I find that I sound extremely stiff if I just knew what I wanted to say, and I put my target, I swear to you, I put my target right in front, and that's who I talk to. And that, really it dovetailed beautifully into the radio show. That audience is already geared towards this.
Right.
And so you should have seen the questions I got. It was great. It was very effective.
So what you would do is you would ask a question, right? You type it in right here. Where do I get great photos like yours?
There's a horrid story behind that photo, but
And then
very traumatic.
put in my email address. I don't know if this works anymore since my website's been down. Nope. All right, and so let's see what's on the other side. Thank you for your feedback. Okay, so then it's supposed to redirect, and there we are.
Hi, this is Vicky V, the
Vicky
Business
again.
Buddha.
So this is good, though. It's a whole cycle, and all of that question goes into a database, and that's what's sortable, and it's very cool if you're trying to just figure out, like Perry was talking about, finding out what it is that people want through Google. You have to drive traffic there, but you don't have to pay for it other than the monthly subscription.
This to me is like the other side of the Google AdWords. I mean, this is the other part of the puzzle. It gives you a lot of information also. It's very powerful. And
Why are we doing that?
I think it's just innovative. It's different.
Oh. Yeah.